Hi, this is David Jones, otherwise known as the Friendly Marketer. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the reason why getting a mentor is actually the best way to ensure that you're on the road to success. So I want you to pay close attention. It's a very important video, and I'm sure that you will come away with a lot of information, and you'll understand that if you really want to succeed online in internet marketing, anything that you set out to do, having a mentor is surely the best way to go. So settle down, watch, and enjoy.
Here's what I've learned about mentorship. Mentorship is not something you ask somebody to do, like, will you be my friend? It doesn't work like that. When you find somebody you get along with, you share values, you share beliefs, you spend time with them, you get to know them, you develop trust, you take, you're vulnerable with them, you open up to them, and you discover that you become friends. It's what happens. You start off as simply acquaintances. In my experience, mentorship is exactly the same. There were people who were much more experienced than me, who had wisdom that I didn't have, and when I would call them, they would take my calls. And when I would ask them questions, they would always take the time to give me answers. And over the course of time, they became my mentors, like they became my friends. And I remember one time I was with one of my mentors, Ron Bruder, an amazing guy, and I was leaving his house and I put my arm around him and I said, you know, I'm glad you're my mentor. And he looked at me and he said, I'm glad you're mine. And it caught me completely off guard. And true mentorship, like true friendship, is not a one-way street. It's not about one person only giving advice to the other. Both people are showing up to give, and both people are showing up to learn. But you can't ask someone to be your mentor, especially someone who's a total stranger, knock on their door and say, will you be my mentor, if they don't know you and you've never met them. It's like friendship. You cultivate a relationship, and if that person is always there for you and wants to see you thrive and succeed and believes in you, then perhaps they will become your mentor, like making a friend.
My brain tattoos that I've become very well known for is, no one will believe in you until you believe in you. And so good people often become seduced by the chatter of their loudest fears. And what I mean by that is, we come up with a great idea. Let's say it's to start a project that will allow you to lead your field. Let's say it's an idea for a new product that will allow you to grow a new company. Let's say you come up with an idea for a new painting if you are an artist. Let's say it's an idea that will allow you to take your fitness and your wellness and your longevity to a whole new level of wow. And pretty shortly after you come up with the idea, your ego starts screaming. Because we are good in our comfort zones, but the moment we start to go blue ocean around our next level of mastery, our fears come up because we're going out into the unknown. It's human. You know, if you were to look at the psychobiology of it and you were to study the pure biology of it, there's a term called homeostasis. Human beings are hardwired for a steady state. And that kept us alive. So literally our heart beats around the same amount, you know, the 72 beats per minute, and our blood pressure is within a small bandwidth, and that allows us to survive. But what happens is, when we come up with a new idea and when we see a new opportunity and we start to leave our comfort zones into the zone of the unknown where greatness lives, we get scared. And the true heroes and the true titans and the true masters, those people are not fearless. Those are people who have just practiced walking into their fear and living on the razor's edge consistently to the point where they're comfortable amid their discomfort. And that's the great opportunity for you, not to avoid fear, but to be comfortable in the unknown, to be comfortable when you're terrified. And that really is what the great artists, the great entrepreneurs, the great titans, and the great masters are very good on doing. So the first reason good people lose is their faith is not as strong as their fear, or to put it a bit more elegantly, their fears are larger than their faith. And so it would be tactical for you. How do you build more faith? Well, you do what you're frightened to do. And it's a practice. You know, a great athlete practices every morning, and a great producer practices walking into their fears every single day. And what I'm encouraging you to do is every single day do one thing that causes your palms to sweat. Every single day start training your brain to hunt for opportunities to step into that unknown where possibility lives. And if you keep on doing it, you're literally going to build some new neurological hardwiring, a new pathway in your brain where it becomes easier. Because as you know so well, all change is hard at first and it's messy in the middle and it's beautiful at the end.
That I look up to and admire, it's not anything physically different between them and me. It's just the way that they think. When I was able to realize that it was a mindset thing, that mental constructs and breaking them down and habits and all these things were able to be rearranged, and you could literally rebuild the way that you thought to be the type of person that you wanted to be and achieve the type of goals you want to achieve, that's when my life changed. Because I realized that it really was all the way that I was thinking. Sometimes you will close doors to yourself that you didn't even know were always open. You literally put the door and the knob and the handle and the key on them when they never were there. And once I realized that, I was like, the sky really is the limit. Like, it really is the limit. But, you know, not to go biblical, but it's like, you know, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou my, you know, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. That is the mind. That is the valley of the shadow of death. The thoughts that the things that people say to you that regurgitate in your mind, the things you see on who you look like. You know, that is a big thing. You watch TV show and you see a blonde and they're supposed to be stupid. Am I stupid?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you see a black person and they're belligerent, am I supposed to be belligerent? Those are the things that that isn't you. Your mind is like a computer, and it's just playing back in itself what it's already seen. That's why you have to follow your heart. Your heart, it may not know how things are going to happen, but it feels it. So if you follow that, that's where you'll end up where it is. You'll be able to really manifest what it is your dreams are, because your mind doesn't know because it hasn't seen them yet. You're the one that's supposed to deliver it to the world.
I had some family role models, and I had some other people, you know, some sort of historical role models that I really looked at too. So certainly my grandfather was a serious role model for me. I just had spent so much time. I think you learn different things from grandparents than you learn from parents. It's a great. I would encourage anybody to try to spend time not only with their parents but with their grandparents. But I also had two people I always would read about, and were Thomas Edison and Walt Disney. Those were sort of my two, you know, biographical heroes. I've always been interested in inventors and invention, and Edison, of course, just, you know, for a little kid and probably for adults too, I still feel this way at least, is not only the symbol of that, but the actual fact of that, the just incredible inventor. And I've always felt that there's a certain kind of important pioneering that goes on from an inventor like Thomas Edison. And then Disney was a different sort of thing. He also, you know, a real pioneer and an inventor and doing new things. But it seemed to me that he had this incredible capability to create a vision that he could get a large number of people to share. Because the things that Disney invented, like Disneyland, you know, the theme parks and so on, they were such big visions that no single individual, unlike a lot of the things that Edison worked on, no single individual could ever pull them off. And Walt Disney really was able to get a big team of people working in a concerted direction.
We almost started, I mean, I personally started this rivalry from a young age, witnessing and worshiping Serena and Venus practicing at this tennis academy in Florida as a 13-year-old girl with hundreds of kids next to me. And she was already a Grand Slam champion with her sister. And I, you know, the single thought that I had was I wanted to beat her. And a few years later, I find myself, it was literally as if someone took me and put me into a television screen of facing Serena Williams in a final. And I'm someone that honestly did not belong there. I mean, I had nothing. I was not ready. I was not as tall as I gotten to be. I was far from being as strong or physically capable of competing in 2 weeks, but somehow I was there and I was facing her, and she was intimidating. She was strong. Her presence was there. Her confidence, the confidence that she's played with for so many years. And, you know, so much of it is talked about. And I know that a lot of the headlines, a lot of the excerpts that were chosen from the book have been about Serena. And rightfully so, because so much of it has been talked for years on end. but deep down, there's an incredible amount of respect that I have for her. And one of the things I speak about in the book, it's almost like we should be friends because we understand what it's like every single day, and not just by playing tennis. It's not forehands and backhands, but we know everything that goes with the sport. The pressures, the responsibilities, the sponsors, the professionalism, the press conference, everything that we face. It's almost like we have so many like common factors, and yet we have to be rivals in order to beat each other. You know, we must have that drive against each other. And having her across the net only makes you a better player because her level is on another planet.
Honestly, I think everyone is different and unique, and that's a good thing. It's not bad. It's kind of the best thing in the world. You don't want to be like everyone else. Growing up in high school and just junior high, just your whole life, really, either you have been taught to feel like, or you want to be like everyone else because conceptually you'll be included and you'll be like the crowd. But when you think about it, when you look at people like Lady Gaga, who is so crazy and so different and so unique, and her whole message is about, you know, being yourself and being okay with it. And the reason she is so successful and so is because she's talented, because she's different. If she was just like Britney Spears, or if she was just like Nina Dobrev, then there would be two of us, so there'd be nothing special about that. So I think what's special is the fact that you're different, and is the fact that you're unique, and that you can bring something to the table. So if anything, embrace that uniqueness and that thing that you have that no one else does, and expand upon it and make it better and tell everyone about it and be confident in it. Because if you're confident and happy and smiling, you will attract confidence, happiness, and laughter.